Welcome to Photographing America, Episode 3, Lobstermen of Beals, Maine, sponsored by Panasonic Lumix. As I drove from Jonesport across the bridge to Beal Island, I spotted this group of lobster traps everywhere and this old Toyota truck. I thought, I really need to investigate this. Sooner or later I came across this young gentleman, and it happens to be Kelton Beal of Beal Island. And I thought, wow, this is really interesting. So someone that's named, the island is actually named after. After speaking to Kelton, he said, you need to go over to Barney Cove. Barney Cove is where my family has their lobster shack. So as I drove over to Barney Cove, this is on the way there. This is real down home, small island, Maine. Just it's like the land that time forgot. It's just a beautiful place. It was like being in another world. It's a small population, is 503. It was established in 1870 and it was named after Warren Beal. As I arrived to the dock, this was a normal scene on the dock: an old pitchfork, some nets, and a rubber glove. I got a chance to meet Uncle Si. Uncle Si, everybody talked about, saying, hey, you've got to go meet him. He looks just like the guy from Duck Dynasty. Turns out that his name is Gary Sparks, and he works on the dock with the rest of the crew. This is Glenn. This is Glenn Beal. He was coming in at the time. He yelled out a big good morning to me, and we started chatting, and he said, well, if you want a real taste of what it's like to be a lobsterman, meet me here at dawn tomorrow morning, and we'll go out on the boat and I'll show you what it's all about. This is his wife, Diane. Diane works with Glenn all the time on the boat, and the two of them go out and they either retrieve traps or set traps. It's a real family operation here. Well, that morning, you can see morning light. I met Glenn. We rowed out to the boat on a little dinghy. He said, my boat's not very pretty. I said, well, if it was real pretty, it wouldn't be nearly as interesting. We got on the boat, and you can see there's still plastic over the cord for the microphone that he's using for this marine radio. He lets everybody know that he's going out, so everybody kind of looks out for one another when they're out on the water, especially if he's by himself. They check in, make sure he's okay. Glenn, his boat was just a real working boat. You can see there's an old air horn there, there's a compass. I mean, he's not looking for GPS or anything fancy. He's got layers of sweatshirts on that shows years of experience. He's got arms like Popeye. Just an amazing trip. He took me out, and we rowed her out there for probably about 5 hours. Seas were pretty rough. He was making fun of me because I was from New Jersey, and he was probably hoping that I would get sick, but I didn't. I was holding back. So we got out there, and I said, well, you need me to help you retrieve some traps? And he's like, no, I've got this down to a science. We've got ways to do this that we're not pulling these things by hand. We've got a pulley system. So he was just pulling traps and throwing the lobsters back in. He wasn't lobstering at that point in time. It was after the season was over, and he was just taking his traps out of the water for the season. He gave me a lesson. This was a female lobster. He said, when you get a female lobster like this with eggs, you put them back in the water very gently so that they can reproduce, so that you can keep the lobstering business going. This is his nephew, Garrett Beal. Garrett handles all the fishermen coming in, all lobstermen that come to the dock. They come in, they get their catch, he weighs it, writes them a check, and they go right to the market. Thank you all for checking in and watching. Special thanks to the Beal family. Hope to catch you next time.